As you've probably noticed in my recent videos, shelled animals have been a recurring theme amongst my latest gouache paintings. While they add deeper layers of meaning to the themes that I'm trying to explore, their original inclusion stemmed from my fascination with these incredible creatures. For this new painting, I'm sticking with the shell theme, but for an entirely different purpose. This painting will be a tribute to one of my favorite artists of all time. So come along with me as I create this painting using gouache. Along the way, I'll share some of my process, some stories, and some fun facts. Alright, let's get started. I'll dive into the themes behind this painting a little later, but first I wanted to talk about the main inspiration behind it. Esao Andrews has been my favorite artist for over a decade. Like many others, I discovered his work through my love for the post-hardcore band Circa Survive. Esao is widely known as the album artist for the band. For me, it's the combination of Circa Survive's melodic, progressive sound and Anthony Green's vocals that made them one of my favorite bands. Listening to their epic songs while gazing into Esao's incredible artwork created a perfect harmony, a match made in heaven. I was instantly hooked. As an artist, I've always been in awe of Esao Andrews' oil paintings. His masterful use of color and light, combined with his loose, almost watercolor-like techniques, creates something truly magical. There's a quality to his work that inspires me to strive towards becoming a better artist every day. Last year, I had the incredible opportunity to see his artwork in person, and it was absolutely breathtaking. Witnessing his pieces up close gave me a deeper appreciation for his sheer talent. For this painting, I wanted to pay homage to one of my favorite motifs in Esao's work, the shell. This motif is most prominently featured in the painting The Amulet, which became the album art for Circa Survive's 2018 album of the same name. Alongside this album's release came the single Dark Pools, accompanied by its own original artwork by Esao, once again featuring the shell motif. While I find it hard to pick my favorite piece from Esao's vast body of work, it's no doubt that The Amulet and Dark Pools are iconic, making the imagery of the shell a fitting tribute to his influence over my artistic journey. Tying it all together is the butterfly resting atop the shell, a recurring theme in my own artwork. Its inclusion reflects my artistic identity. Esao's painting, The Amulet, has always provoked strong feelings for me. The scene of a woman carrying a ginormous shell through a wasteland, to me symbolizes the weight of the world on one's shoulders. Just like the myth of Atlas, who is condemned to hold up the weight of the heavens and sky for eternity, this painting calls upon similar imagery. Then, there's also the trail of foliage that grows under the woman's footsteps, which to me symbolizes some sort of healing. I wanted to call upon similar imagery in my piece, creating a scene where a woman was burdened by the weight of a shell, as she attempts to rest upon the ground. Unlike the wasteland in Esao's painting, the woman in my painting would be seated across a river, showing that she is a giant, further leaning into the myth of the Titan Atlas. Additionally, within the shell would be another figure seemingly carved out of the material of the shell. This was a concept I had seen floating around online recently and was inspired to incorporate something similar into my own piece, making it look like the woman had recently carved the figure out of the shell herself. After finishing the drawing, I moved on to painting the sky. To exaggerate the scale of the scene and convey that the woman is a giant, I decided to exaggerate the sky's gradient. Typically, when painting the sky, the top is made darker than the horizon because in reality the horizon appears lighter due to the thicker layers of atmosphere you're looking through. In contrast, when you look straight up towards the zenith, there's less atmosphere, making the sky appear darker. To enhance the realism and scale, I made the zenith of my sky especially dark. This not only adds a sense of depth and reality to the painting, but also suggests that the top of the scene is so high in the atmosphere it almost touches space. To enhance the sense of perspective, I desaturated the distant mountains while dramatically increasing the saturation as the landscape moves closer. My goal was to create a natural-looking bird's-eye view, making the landscape appear further away while emphasizing the subject's immense size in comparison to the terrain. The centerpiece of the landscape is the river that flows from the distant mountains, forming a delta as it empties into a larger body of water. In this piece, the river symbolizes the passing of time, its cyclical journey from precipitation gathering in the mountains to flowing back towards the ocean, representing the endless cycle of time and renewal. Finally, it was time to move on to the subjects, starting with the shell. The shell I chose is inspired by the murex, a type of large predatory tropical sea snail. Also known as a rock snail, these carnivorous marine gastropod mollusks are famous for their strikingly spiny shells. Their unique shape and intricate design immediately caught my attention during my research. I knew I wanted my shell to reflect their distinctive appearance. A fascinating fact about the murex snail is their historical association with the production of royal purple dye. Ancient Phoenicians extracted mucus from the snail's hypobranchial glands to create a rich purple color, often used for ceremonial or ritual garments, symbolizing power and prestige. Now, the weight of the shell on the woman's shoulders could be interpreted in many ways. With the shell's association with royal purple, it might symbolize the oppressive weight of power and authority over the masses. But for me, the weight feels far more personal. As an artist, I often feel crushed by a mix of self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and perfectionism. When I create, I'm constantly questioning my abilities, fixated on the mistakes and flaws in my work instead of celebrating the successes. It's hard to fully recognize my achievement when I'm so caught up in the cycle of comparison, seeing other artists with more likes, more views, and more recognition. I know deep down that likes and views don't determine my value or success as an artist, but it's difficult to push those thoughts aside. It's a constant battle to focus on the joy of creating while navigating the endless stream of external pressures that makes me feel like I'm not good enough. It is this weight that I plan to capture within this piece. While this painting began as a tribute to one of my favorite artists, it evolved into something much more personal during its creation. The image of a woman carrying a shell came to symbolize the weight and pressure of my own internalized self-doubt. Inspired by the growing foliage in Esao's The Amulet, the butterfly in my painting represents transformation and growth. Across many cultures, butterflies are seen as symbols of change and renewal. Beyond being a signature element of my work, the butterfly here embodies my journey towards self-validation, both as an artist and as a human being. The river serves as a symbol of the passage of time, reinforcing the idea that growth is cyclical. This painting became a reflection of my ongoing process to embrace change and find strength in my own path. After completing the subjects and putting in the last finishing touches, I can call this painting complete. Being my first painting of the new year, this piece turned out to be a real journey, starting off as a simple tribute and turning into something a little deeper. I definitely had a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about the process. As usual, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.